Hello,
Hello.
you hear me?
Oui. Ça
Oui.
va? Ça va bien?
Hello, guys.
How are
Hello.
you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Wonderful.
Hey, Stephen.
Hello, Cendrine. We're here again, but it's a different show on a different platform. And we'll make a start. Right. Good evening or good afternoon, and welcome to this very special show where myself and Cendrine will be talking to Mike Wood. Good afternoon, Cendrine.
I didn't hear.
Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Would you like to introduce Mike?
Okay, Mike and I have known each other for a little bit. We belong to a Skype group together, and we started chatting. And Mike told me that he was a Wikipedia expert, and he had actually written a book titled "Wikipedia as a Marketing Tool: How to Reap the Marketing Benefits of Wikipedia." So I was very, very interested in getting to know him a little more. I interviewed him a couple of times, once for my blog and another time for another blog I write for. What I find interesting about Mike is that he's the only Wikipedia expert that I've ever heard of or that I know. So for those who do not know you, Mike, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa.
My apologies for that network error somewhere along the line. I mean, we're connecting Canada and the UK and the States, so Right. If we pick up from your answering Cendrine's question to just talk about yourself, and I'll edit it all together.
Absolutely. And, there's a ton of experts out there that know the rules and guidelines, but very few that actually do it on a professional basis. You can find paid Wikipedia editors, which started becoming popular, I would say, maybe 5-6 years ago, when the rules of Wikipedia became so stringent that some people either didn't want to deal with it or they weren't sure how to navigate the site. So they just started hiring people to go in. So a ton of paid editors out there, but there's maybe 5 or 6 people that I know of that do it professionally. And we could talk about that a little bit later, the difference between a paid Wikipedia editor and a professional editor. There's paid editors you can find on Elance, which will pretty much post anything you want. But, the majority of it isn't going to adhere to guidelines. It's going to be deleted. It's going to be spam. It's going to cause the site many problems. It's going to cause you many problems, as well as the writers. So that's basically where I am now. I help companies, people, anything you really need, as long as it meets the guidelines. I can pretty much take it on for you.
Okay. Now, we've got lots of questions between us. I'm sure we'll get through them. But my first question is, on Wikipedia itself, which has been going a number of years, what are the advantages to a company to actually having their own entry?
Well, Wikipedia is a very popular site. I mean, it's 6th, 7th in Alexa.com for both world and the US. I don't know where it would rank in the UK or Canada, but obviously very, very high. I mean, it's top 10 most visited websites. When you search a company or a term, Wikipedia is going to be one of the search results that you see on the first page. And obviously, when you tell anyone that they can get first page results, they're going to jump on the opportunity, whether that's getting a Facebook profile or creating a website or getting a feature in Forbes. They want that first page results, because we know, I don't know the exact percentages, but it's 90s that people are going to click on one of the first 2 or 3 search results. They're not going to go to page 2. I mean, the joke was, if you wanted to hide a dead body, you put it on page 2 of Google, because no one's going to find it. So that is one advantage. I mean, if you qualify for Wikipedia page and you have it, you're going to be on page 1 when people search to find more information about you.
Right.
Another key advantage is people are going crazy now about the Google Knowledge Graph. And that's the search box on the right-hand side when you enter a company or a brand or a person. On the right-hand side, their picture shows up along with their website and basic information about them. Some of that information is pulled from Wikipedia.
Indeed.
And we know how marketers are. I'm a marketer. You know, anytime we see a trend, we want to jump on the train and ride it. So the Google Knowledge Graph came out and people just went crazy. People are still going crazy. They want that box on the right-hand side of search results. And one way to do that is Wikipedia. So I have been getting requests like crazy from people who say, hey, I want a knowledge graph. Get me a Wikipedia page. You know, unfortunately, they don't qualify. Not everyone qualifies for Wikipedia page, but there's other ways to do that to help as well. So,
yeah. So my question: how do you qualify to appear on Wikipedia?
big question, because most people think if you exist, you qualify, and that is not necessarily the case. You know, one thing I want to tell people, and Wikipedia editors will tell you this as well if you try to spam the site, Wikipedia is not Facebook. It's not your official website. It's not a social media channel. It's not your platform for promotion. You know, Wikipedia as a marketing tool does not mean use Wikipedia to promote yourself. You know, there's a way to do it where you get the marketing benefits. So, you know, Wikipedia is an encyclopedia. You know, so the first thing I tell people is, do you think that you would be popular enough in history where people would want to look you up and find out who you are? You know, just like, would you qualify for an encyclopedia? You know, if you're a local attorney, but you don't have major press, do you think you'd qualify for Wikipedia? No. Okay. Well, then, you know, you wouldn't qualify for, or an encyclopedia, you wouldn't qualify. If you're an attorney like, let's go Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran had press across the United States. Everybody knows who he is. I mean, just saying the name, you would say, yeah, I think he would qualify for Wikipedia because, you know, he's very, you know, very popular, was very popular. He's since passed. But that's one thing, is you have to be in the press. Wikipedia has guidelines. They're called general notability guidelines. And what it means, you must have significant coverage and reliable sources that are independent of the topic. The press needs to talk about you. And, you know, when it talks about independence, it can't be a press release. It can't be your official website. It has to be somebody else talking about you. It has to be significant. You have to have more than one. Just having one news piece does not qualify you. You have to have many, multiple, and they have to be in depth. For instance, it has to be an article about you. It can't be a brief mention or a backlink. You know, you kind of get the feel after a while that if I mention someone or something and people say, oh yeah, I know what that is, okay, chances are they would qualify for a Wikipedia page. If I say a name or a product or a company and someone says, oh, I have to look that up in Google, chances are you don't qualify. Right. But so, you know, those are general guidelines. And then there's additional guidelines, sub-guidelines, depending on what or who you are. You know, if you're a company, there's a subset of guidelines. If you're a person, there's a subset of guidelines. And even for people, there's a subset of subsets for musicians or authors, creative professionals. So you can see how many levels of guidelines and policies there are. So, and that was a great question, because notability, I tell people, is your number one thing for Wikipedia. It is the key to get into the castle. If you're not notable, don't go any further. Don't just go spend your money on media outreach, SEO, but do not go any further.
I've made a note so that we've got that in the chat forever. Notability is a key. Now, so to become notable, you've got to have made an impression.
Correct.
A big impression. So Google already knows about you, and this is just Wikipedia would reinforce it.
Yes, correct. Yeah, Wikipedia feels that if you're notable enough for them, that people are already going to be talking about you.
And What about those people who create their own Wikipedia pages, who write them themselves? Is it something that you've seen a lot? Because I've seen quite a few people who actually write their own pages, but how is it seen by Wikipedia?
Wikipedia hates what they consider a conflict of interest. If you're associated with a page, such as you work for the company, if you're the person writing about yourself, if you're getting paid to create the page, they hate it. They automatically assume, and rightfully so, that you can't write it from a neutral point of view. And it's true. I mean, it's kind of like writing an autobiography. You know, even if you wrote an autobiography, you're going to want somebody else to put their touches on it, because what you write about yourself is going to be a little different. So Wikipedia wants to make sure everything is neutral. So if you write about yourself, which, you know, you can, there's no real policy against it. It's highly discouraged. And when I say highly discouraged, it's like saying, you know, it's legal to carry a gun, an open gun in Texas, but, you know, you might not want to. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just highly frowned upon. It's discouraged. You can do it, but it's not really advised. And anytime that they know that there's a conflict of interest, they're going to come in. They're going to, according to the guidelines, they're supposed to come in and make sure it's neutral. But the pendulum kind of swings. So anytime they find that there's a conflict of interest, they're going to come in and pretty much, I don't want to say destroy the article, but they're gonna cut it down to the bare bones, because they don't like the conflict of interest. So
can we talk about the structure of Wikipedia for a moment? Because you said content editor. What's from the top? What's the sort of organization?
Well, as far as the editors themselves. Yeah, there's anyone can edit Wikipedia. You don't even need to have an account. I mean, it's open source. You can come along and edit from an IP address. You can edit from an account. You can create an account if you want with you know, a username and password. So it's all volunteer. So you have a level of volunteer editors who come in, and that pool is pretty large. There's editors who just started today, who aren't editing from a username. Okay. And there's editors that have been there for 10 plus years that have had 1 million edits. So, you know, there's a large pool of editors. And so even though it's all considered one group of editors, there's kind of a hierarchy in there. As an editor, when you go in and you see different people editing, some people have a lot more respect, because, you know, they've been there for a while. So their opinions matter a lot more. You know, if somebody comes in and they've been editing for 2 days, you know, I'm going to listen to their opinion, but someone that's been there 10 years that wants to cite a guideline or policy, their opinion is going to carry a lot more weight, because it's a been there, done that. They're, you know, they're tried and true. They're the trooper. They've been in the war zone. Now they're here to, you know, to talk about it. So now above that, you have a level of, they're called administrators. I wouldn't call them an ultimate authority. What I consider them is editors who have additional tools to use for the site. They have the ability to block users, ban users. They have ability to, you know, lock pages so people can't edit them. They have the ability to step in with disputes. So, you know, they have quite a bit of leeway. Not leeway, but they have a lot more responsibilities, and they also have more tools than regular editors. Obviously, someone that comes in and just starts editing the site, you're not going to give them the ability to block or ban editors, because next thing you know, everyone's going to be banned except for that one person who takes over. So, you know, then above there, there's bureaucrats, there's oversight. So, you know, if something should happen to be in dispute with administrators or editors, or there's something strong like a violation of privacy policy or something, they can go to the bureaucrats is what they're called, the bureaucratic notice board. I keep calling bureaucrats because Wikipedia is pretty much a bureaucracy, you know. But anyways, so you have the different levels there. It's not necessarily that they have more power. It's just they have more tools and ability, and there's you know, a level of oversight within there.
I'm sensing that there's a community at work here.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it's a great community. You know, I have I'm anti Wikipedia bureaucracy. So you'll see some of my articles that talk about the, you know, some of the Wikipedia editors and everything like this. But I'll also be the first person to say that there's a lot of good volunteer Wikipedia editors out there. I see them working, and they're there for a good reason. They do follow guidelines. They're very good to communicate with. They're there for a purpose. You know, in my heart, I'm a Wikipedian. I mean, I started as a volunteer.
Yeah.
So, you know, one thing about Wikipedia, it's very addicting. It's like going to a casino and putting your first dollar into a slot machine, and next thing you know, you're a compulsive gambler. The same thing happens with Wikipedia. You know, some people come in and they do one or two edits just because they saw something that was wrong, or they wanted to add. Next thing you know, they're editing, you know, 2-3 hours a day. That's how it started for me. It's how it starts with a lot of people. So there's a great group of people. When I talk about the bureaucracy and the anti-Wikipedia people, you know, it's really a small group of people that I talk about. But overall, the editing community there is a very good group of people, very good group of people, and they do work together. You talk about community, they have Wikipedia meetups, like picnics that they're having this summer. They have the Global Wiki Conference. So, you know, there's a lot of collaboration that's done both on Wikipedia and a lot that they do off Wikipedia as well.
Right. So Wikipedia, I mean, it's truly international, isn't it? I mean, I noticed on your website that you actually translate Wikipedia articles using an astonishing array of languages.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what's great about Wikipedia is normally when you see something international, like let's take a company, let's say Sephora, okay? When you have Sephora, it operates in the United States, it operates globally. Right? So you're going to find it translated into different languages, and people within those languages can access it. Now, even though Wikipedia has many different language Wikipedias, you're going to find that editors cross-edit all the time. And here's what I mean by that. English Wikipedia is edited not only by people in the US, Canada, Australia, the UK, it's edited by people in Japan, Germany, France, people that speak dual languages who are coming over to do cross edits, because there may be something on the French Wikipedia and all of a sudden, hey, I want to go and make sure it's done on the English Wikipedia. You get some people who are administrators on other Wikipedias who come over to the English Wikipedia as an editor. So, you know, there's a lot of cross editing. The French Wikipedia is edited by people not just in France, but people all over the world. So you don't just have these individual languages all over, you have it melting and mixing in together. So, and that's what's great about the collaboration and being open source, is you can get the collaboration from the different languages, from the different cultures, from the different countries that help make it as neutral as can possibly be.
And did you approach Wikipedia to write for them, or did they approach you?
No, I don't write for Wikipedia whatsoever.
To edit for them.
Yes. No, I approached Wikipedia. I mean, it was one of those things when it got started, you know, you could read the news articles, and you know, I'd built websites before. I still build websites now, and I kind of dabbled. I love computers. I started with the old Commodore 64, and I always tell people about the story of I was visiting my grandpa in Florida, and he would do flea markets. He basically ran a stand at swap meets. And I was walking around a flea market once, and I saw this booth of this guy trying to sell me this thing called the internet. You know, he said it's going to take the world by storm. And I'm looking at, I don't get the concept. You know, this guy's crazy, whatever. The guy's rich, you know, somewhere controlling whatever. So, you know, always been into computers. And when I saw this Wikipedia thing and started reading more, I'm like, wow, I can contribute to that. I can actually create a page online, and I don't necessarily own it, but I take the pride of owning that specific edit or that specific change that I did. So it's like, okay, I'll give this a try. And next thing you know, like I said, it's very, very, very addicting. very addicting.
Yeah. Now, you've spoken about an army of volunteers maintaining the site, but you then mentioned paid editors.
Correct.
Can you sort of put together what the difference is and why it matters?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big, I guess, conflict between paid editors and volunteer editors. The site is set up for volunteers, for people to be able to go in and edit the site. Now, I'm a marketer, and I tell all marketers out there, it's your fault, my fault as well, from the very beginning, of why it is difficult to edit Wikipedia. Years ago, marketers, like I said, we like to jump on trends. Found out that Wikipedia was very strong for backlinks. You get a backlink to something that's an Alexa 6, you know, you're going to go to the first page. So next thing you know, marketers were getting backlinks spammed like crazy into Wikipedia. They're creating pages for stuff that don't even have websites or news articles. I mean, they're using it as a social media channel or their own website. And Wikipedia had to combat that because it's an encyclopedia. And, you know, talking didn't work. So what they did is they had to switch from do follow links to no follow links. So now they're all no follow links in Wikipedia. Still tremendous backlink power, but and yeah, I'll debate you all day long about the no follow, do follow, because I still think no follow links have great power in Google for link diversity and a number of other reasons. But so what happened is they changed do follow to no follow, and they started adding rules and guidelines on what you need to do or be in order to be in Wikipedia. That's where the notability guidelines came in, the style guidelines, the references, what's considered a reliable source and what's not. And it kind of was a pendulum swing. You know, it was right in the middle, and then marketers threw it to the spam side.
Right.
And then editors came along, volunteer editors wanting to protect the site. So they threw the pendulum all the way to the other side. And the pendulum has not ever come back to kind of go towards the middle. So where we have now is a site that while you can edit and volunteers can edit, it is very, very difficult. You want to go on today. You know, a lot of new editors get what's called bitten by the older editors' experience because they do something wrong. But overall, new editors just don't understand the guidelines. And so what happens is they try to find an experienced editor who will write an article for them because they just don't have the time or don't understand the rules. And most people want to do it the right way. Some people don't. But most people want to do it the right way. So, and contacting the volunteer editors don't want to do it because they feel like you're using them as your promotional vehicle. Because again, the pendulum is all the way on the other side. So paid editing with Wikipedia started. People started hiring freelancers to go in and edit the site. So you had people who were volunteer editors on Wikipedia who said, hey, you know what? I can get paid to edit. I'm going to go ahead and accept money from this company or this person. So that's kind of where it started. Now, you know, we talk about the difference between the paid editor and the professional editor. You know, I used to be a paid editor. You used to be able to send me an email, send me a copy of what you wanted, and I'll put it up on Wikipedia for you. You know, you pay me $50, I'll go ahead and post it, no problem, because I know the code. I'm not going to follow guidelines, but I'll post it for you.
Yeah.
You know, over time, you know, I've learned that, you know, and again, I am a Wikipedian at heart. You have to make sure it's notable. If you send me an email and say, I want to be up on Wikipedia, first thing I'm going to do is see if you qualify. If you don't qualify, I'm going to try to switch you to something like media outreach or an SEO strategy. Hey, you know, you can spend your money with me, but we can't do Wikipedia. We just can't do Wikipedia. And like I tell people, maybe 10 to 20% of the emails I get even qualify for Wikipedia. So it's a very low number of people that actually contact me that qualify. And, you know, I explained to them, you know, here's what we can do. Here's what we can't do. It's not your website. You want me to put how many employees you have in your company? Put it on your website. You know, it's not encyclopedic. We're going to say who you are, what you do, your history, and that's about it. No one cares about, you know, how many awards you've won. I'm not going to list 50 awards that your company's won or you know, you may have won. You're an artist. I'll list your music, your songs, but I'm only going to list the ones that charted. You know, discography. We're going to keep it within the Wikipedia guidelines for the site. the other thing between the difference between a paid editor and a professional editor, and I've lost clients over this, where people have said, this has to be in the article. And I tell them, this doesn't meet guidelines. I can't put that sentence in the article. There's no source for it. And it's going to be spam to put it on there. So you absolutely cannot put it on there. Well, we want it on there. We're paying you to do it. And I tell them, just because you're paying me to do it doesn't mean necessarily that it can be done. You know, it all must be done within the notability, the citation style, the formatting. It all has to be followed. Because in the end, 6 months from now, you know, you're going to pay somebody just to put your article up. 6 months from now, you're going to be contacting me and saying, oh, the article was deleted and now it's blocked and can't be created again. Or, you know, they're going to come to me, they're going to follow the professional advice and have a nice article that 6 months from now, they're still going to see it up there. So plus again, it doesn't harm the Wikipedia community. It actually builds the encyclopedia. It's written from a neutral point of view. And that's where the conflict comes in between paid and volunteer editors. A lot of people, most of them say that because I take money to create an article, that I automatically have a conflict of interest because I'm going to post what the client wants. Okay, yeah, I understand your argument, but you know, if you did get to speak to some of my former clients, they're going to tell you that that's not the way it is. You know, I'd rather tell them, sorry, this paragraph you want in there can't go in there. I'd rather tell them that than have them contact me 6 months from now and say, hey, this article is flagged and it's deleted and everything else. So, you know, if you don't want to, if you want to spam, don't come to me because I'm not going to do it. You know, go to Elance, go to Freelancer, pay someone $50. And then when the article's deleted because you didn't listen, then it's going to take you a lot more to get it back up on the site because it's already been deleted once or twice or blocked from creation. So that's kind of where you get the difference between the paid and the professional editor.
So you talked about notability, citation, formatting, and so on and so forth. What are the most important guidelines that people should be aware of for Wikipedia?
Absolutely, the notability. I mean, notability is 95%. You know, if something is notable and it doesn't have the correct references, maybe it uses the wrong references, that doesn't necessarily mean the article will be deleted. You know, Wikipedia says that as long as a reference is available, you know, you can still use it within Wikipedia, even though it's not cited in there. So notability is number one. Study notability guidelines. I have the guide to notability I sent you before. I could send it to you again. It's kind of a step-by-step guide on how to determine and see if you're notable, but you have to be notable 95% of the way there. The other 5% all comes down to writing style. And again, formatting. Make sure you format it properly, you know, have the proper headings. Don't put, background, awards, how I'm special, my mom likes me, you know, those headings just don't belong. Follow the heading format. The references, make sure that you use the proper references because that also will help show your notability. And make sure it's written from a neutral point of view. That's the other guideline. Neutral point of view guidelines are very, very, very important. Use the correct references. You know, for instance, I could go out right now and, you know, we have Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. I could find references for both to write articles. Let's take Donald Trump. I could find references to write a Wikipedia article that says he's the greatest guy in the world. I could find references to write a Wikipedia article to say he's the devil. Okay. The goal of Wikipedia is to make sure that it's neutral. So that's very, very important. You have to find the balance. You have to find the weight. For instance, I'm not going to use Gawker to cite Gawker 100% in an article. You know, you're going to want to look, okay, maybe Gawker reports it and New York Times picked it up and confirmed a story. Now we have a good solid foundation. You know, I'm not going to use Breitbart to cite everything in an article. I'm not going to use HuffPost to cite everything, you know, in an article because, you know, different political, you know, one paper is going to side one way or another, depending on their political background or their political point of view. So you've got to make sure that it's neutral and you pull from a collaboration of sources. And that's really what Wikipedia is. Wikipedia is not the New York Times. You know, it's not the Huffington Post. It's Wikipedia. It's a collaboration of what everything in the media is saying. So,
right. Now, I suppose a reason, well, you said that you won't talk about your clients, and I can understand that, but can you tell us the type of clients that you've had, who you've helped to get onto Wikipedia, sort of the business areas they're in?
I wish I could disclose my clients. It would, I could tell you at this point, I'm not starstruck. I say there's only two people I could meet, and that would be Ice Cube and Jimmy Clausen. Those are the only two people in the world I could meet where I would actually, you know, be starstruck. But I've met authors, musicians, Fortune 500 companies. I've done work for every presidential administration going back to Bush Sr. And when I say every presidential administration, I'm not talking about the presidents themselves. I'm talking about someone that's either been in their cabinet or been involved in the administration some way, some shape or form. So, you know, there's a lot of people that have come my way that I've been able to help. So just about anything, medical companies, again, just about any Fortune 500 company I've dealt with a lot. Lawyers, bankers, CEOs, again, authors, musicians, just about anyone you could think of, I've been able to have my hand in. So,
and among those fields, which ones have been the more cooperative of them all?
A cooperative?
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard when you're dealing with a company, and not because it's a company or corporation. It's just the more people you have in a company, and I know this from working in government agencies, especially, everybody has to put their hands on it before they get an approval. So, you know, when you're dealing with a company and I send over a draft of what meets guidelines, it'll touch 20 different people, and it comes back to me and I don't even recognize the article. So then, you know, I have to go back and say, okay, we can't put this, we can put this. So the less people that have their hands in it, the better, because when I give it to them the first time, this is what I got, this is how, and I don't even want the companies or the people to send me their information. Sometimes they're like, hey, we'll write up the article for you. And no. Let me write the article from what I find, because I want to write it how a Wikipedia editor says, hey, I just come across this company or this person, I want to write an article about them. I want to write it how they would write it, then send it to you, and then we can discuss changes. So the less people that have their hands in it, the better. But again, you know, I've dealt with some companies where I've sent them the first draft and they've said, great, this is great. You know, I've dealt with some people that, you know, we've gone through 6, 7, 8 revisions before I finally said, I can't do any more for you, because it's just not going to meet. So, yeah, there's been some cooperative. I have lost a few clients by telling them that I just can't do that for you. You know, it's very, very few, but, you know, I have lost them.
Reputation is key. And you're the first filter in the Wikipedia chain.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people don't realize, but, you know, I tell them when I create this article for you, I may be the creator, but I'm not the end user. You know, once this goes live in Wikipedia, you've got to understand that anyone can edit it. So again, we're talking not only about the editors internationally, but we're talking about the people who edit different Wikipedia languages that are coming over, or vice versa. And something comes up in the media tomorrow, I can't control that. That's your life. That's what you control. You know, I've done biographies for people and put them up, and 6 months later, something bad happens. Maybe they get arrested or whatever it is. And then they're like, oh, I want this off my Wikipedia page. I don't control your life. I don't control the press. I write what's out there. You know what I mean? So, you know, people got to realize that once this goes up, it's up there. So, you know, there are some disadvantages to having a Wikipedia page. If you don't want your reputation tracked, run from Wikipedia.
Right. So the initial piece that you do is neutral but positive.
Yes and no.
Okay.
The stuff that I put on is positive. Yeah. But not because I want to write about a client in a positive view. if you step back for a minute, let's go back to the clients who contact me. I have 10 people a day contact me, and let's say 2 of them qualify for Wikipedia. I'll send them quotes, and one person decides, they want to do it. But when I get on there, I find that everything's positive, it's good, there's no negativity out there. I can write them from a neutral point of view as long as they have positive, press out there. Right. I'm not making anything up.
No.
Okay.
No, based on fact.
Now, the next day I get 10 people to qualify. The one person who qualifies has a ton of negative press out there. They're contacting me because they have a bad reputation online. They want to push it off the first page. They want a Wikipedia page because they know it hits first in Google. Yeah. I tell them run, because the second you create a Wikipedia page, all that negative press gets to go onto that page. Yeah. Not only does it go on the page, but it's also grabbing onto those negative links that you're trying to bury, and it's pulling them up with the article. So even though it's no follow links, it still has a lot of authority. And if you spent any money on reputation management trying to push those links to page 2, you are going to absolutely unwind everything that was done by creating a Wikipedia page. So when people say you don't write negative about people, I would if I didn't chase them away from Wikipedia. Yes. The thing is I tell them don't. Yeah. And there's times when, people come to me and they may have 1 or 2 blips, negative things that are out there. And I tell them, hey, look, these have to go on the Wikipedia page. And they understand that and they agree to it. And I tell them, I says, even though this is negative, let's put it on the page because we can write it from a neutral point of view, as opposed to letting a troll or a competitor come on and write it in the way that they want. I'll give you an example is politicians. If you go and look up politicians on Wikipedia, and I love working for politicians, but I hate editing their pages because they are the most difficult to edit. When you look at Wikipedia pages on politicians, if you look at a candidate and then look at their opponent, one is usually very, very positive, and the other one is usually very, 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 very negative. So, you're dealing with a ton of different points of view. And the person who wrote the negative is usually the same person that wrote the positive for the other one. Oh. Well, that person, and again, let's go Hillary and Donald here. If you have a Hillary fan and you ask them to write a page about Donald Trump, what are you going to get? Or vice versa. You ask Donald Trump fan to write about Hillary, what are you going to get? So it's kind of hard to do that. So I tell people, let's put it up there. We'll put it in a neutral point of view. Okay. We'll state exactly what happened. It was this, the press says that, this person was arrested on this date and they were sentenced to whatever, or the company was fined by the FCC for whatever. And we'll put the reference in there. It has to go in there because it's part of the encyclopedic history. But let's not wait for a competitor to go and make your whole page negative over something that may be 1% of the overall history. So.
Yeah, well, at the same time, it's part of, anything that happens online, right? It's part of transparency, part of having a business online. So if you cannot have all the I forgot the word, but if you cannot have the entire story, how can you make an informed decision to support a company or a personal brand, right?
Correct. And I tell people, put it on there. If it's out there, it has to be on there. Let's put it on there, because if people are going to go to the Wikipedia page, you're not going to spend much time there. They're going to be on there. They're going to look for 5-10 seconds. Yep. Okay. They see that you have a page, so you must be something in the world. They're going to click on your website and go. But if they see something negative, they're going to know that it's probably more transparent than going to your page and seeing a glowing recommendation for you or your company. And yet they go to Google News and they see the first 20 hits are all negative about you. That really isn't good for you, because then people aren't dumb. Okay. Back when the internet first came out, you could put anything on the internet. It was just like that commercial where I think it was a cell phone commercial where the girl comes out and the guy says, where did you hear that? And she says, the internet. And she says, meet my new boyfriend. He's French. And the guy goes, oui. you know, where'd you meet him? Internet.
Yeah.
So, in the beginning, you could believe anything that was on the internet. Not so. People have become very skeptic, and rightfully so, because there's so much crap out there. So when people see that, they're gonna cut right through it. They're gonna go, yeah, okay, who wrote this for them?
Yep.
Did they write their own entry here? I mean, you can see that stuff. People are stupid, and people aren't going to go to Wikipedia only. They're going to go to Google. They're going to go to review sites. So be transparent. Put it up there. And if you don't want to put it up there, hire another writer, because I don't want to do it. Or my suggestion to a lot of them, when they have a lot of negative press, let's take your resources, and instead of putting it into Wikipedia and battling for one page, let's do some media outreach. Let's go and let me contact some writers from Forbes or editors from Entrepreneur. Let's see if we can get you some press. Okay. Is there anything positive out there that you're doing? Do you have a new product, a new service, something that we can, is there a story out there that we can tell people that they don't know about you? Put your money into that, and let's work on that, because their ultimate goal really with Wikipedia is try to push out negative. If I can get them 3 or 4 positive articles in some high-powered press, it's gonna outweigh Wikipedia any day. It really is. Be more of an advantage.
But when people are looking for things, I know that when I'm looking for things, I look on Google, I look on Wikipedia, and IMDb, and those are my 3 authorities.
Yes.
And if I'm visiting a place, then I can look at the town or the city and get everything I need to know about that place. And if I'm researching a person, again, or a business, I can find it on Wikipedia. That's been since the beginning, the go-to place, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because you read so many articles about people saying that Wikipedia isn't reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia is just unreliable. Don't trust it. Those are the same people that if you looked over their shoulder while they're on the computer are going to go to Wikipedia first when they Google something. Because even though, and I'll agree, even the co-founder, Jimmy Wales, says that Wikipedia isn't reliable. A lot of people agree that it's not reliable, but that doesn't mean don't use it. What I love about Wikipedia, it is an invaluable source. Just like you said, you can go and find anything you want. When I go to Wikipedia and I review, like, say, a city,
mm-hmm.
I may read the Wikipedia article and say, that's great. I'm glad that everybody who wants to edit this page decided that this is what the city is. I scroll to the bottom, and you will find a list of all the sources that were used to create that page. That's where I think Wikipedia is great. And you see academia starting to talk about, hey, let's start using Wikipedia maybe. I've had professors contact me and say, how do I keep my students from using Wikipedia? Don't keep them from using Wikipedia. Keep them from citing Wikipedia, okay? Because Wikipedia is a collaboration. This is what you do. Send your students to Wikipedia, because people have already compiled the sources that they're going to find on Google at the bottom of this Wikipedia page. So go to Wikipedia, scroll to the bottom, you'll find white papers, you'll find news articles. Mm-hmm. You may not find everything, but if it's a popular enough page, people have already combined the sources. You can click on those links. It'll take you directly to the source. For instance, you're looking up a city, you may find something in a travel magazine, or, like Travel and Leisure. That's a good one. Very unbiased. They're putting together a collaboration of stuff. Okay, I'm going to go read the article in there about the city. It's going to have the official website of the city where you can go and find tours and everything else. So, it's very, very source. And why I say it's unreliable is because it's built by humans. We're not perfect. And again, you're going to have bias no matter if you have a direct conflict of interest or not. I mean, I'm not going on to edit Pokemon Go today because it's not something that interests me. People go and they edit the topics that interest them. So you're automatically going to have a conflict. They're going to put their own point of views in there if they can. But, pulling from these sources and putting the collaboration together, it's not going to be perfect. But it's a great source. It's the best source. It's better than Google, because instead of having to rely on Google's algorithm and which search results are hitting the highest or which has dropped to page 2. Maybe a site got penalized and it dropped off, even though it does have valuable information. That stuff's already on the Wikipedia page. And if it's not in the body of the page, it's at the bottom in those references.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
have no more
It's
questions.
great. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No more
No more
questions.
We've run out of questions. Quick, Wikipedia. No.
That's great. Yeah,
All right.
no.
Well, yeah. If I could, and I'm sorry, I want to clarify for everyone out there too.
Yeah.
You know, when we were talking at the beginning about Wikipedia as a marketing tool, you know, with everything I've said here today, you know, you can use Wikipedia as a marketing tool, but make sure that you know you go at it from an encyclopedic standpoint first. Go in there first as you are helping the encyclopedic grow. You know, if you have an entry about yourself, a book, a company, and it's going to contribute to the encyclopedia as a whole, then by all means, go and do it. You are going to automatically get the marketing effect. You do not have to use Wikipedia as your promotional platform. You do not have to go in there and write about how good you are. You just have to create the entry. In fact, most people, I tell them, create a short entry. We're going to do a very, very short entry. You know, the who, what, when, where, why, and then a link to your website. You don't have to put all the information on Wikipedia because people are going to go to your website if they're interested anyway. Put all your glowing recommendations on your website. People will go there from Wikipedia. So, you know, don't go in there to attack Wikipedia as if it's Facebook, as if it's Twitter or a website. You know, you have your own website, put it there. You have your own social media channels, put that stuff there. Wikipedia needs to be neutral, unbiased, and just contain the basic who you are, what you do. Here's the link. Short, to the point entries, and you will see the marketing benefits. So,
Well, for me, it's the same as good, healthy marketing, because the best marketers, the best brands, they do not show off. They just present the information. They're just trying to get helpful and be helpful to the audience so that the audience can make a informed decision as to what they want to do with the information they have. Either they want to support the company or they don't want to support the company. So speaking with you today has really given me good insights into how, you know, really what good marketing is. It's not just Wikipedia. It's about presenting the information in a way that tells people, here it is, it's neutral. Now it's up to you to make the decision to support me or not, right?
exactly. And that's a great point, because people aren't going to read your Wikipedia page and go, you know what, I want to buy that product now. Mm-hmm. No, they're using it for basic information. And here's my family. I can't deal with my family buying anything anymore. And both my direct family and my in-laws, because when you tell them something, they go online, they're going to look at every website, every review, and they're going to go, and it's going to take them days to compile this information before they buy something. So I just say, let's get it. You do the research, whatever you want, and they're going to spend that time on the internet doing the research. Not one of them goes to Wikipedia and goes, I'm sold, let's do it. You know, they may find some basic information there, but they're going to do more than that. So yeah, absolutely. Just put out who you are so people can confirm you are who you are, or you do what you do. Everything else doesn't need to be there. It doesn't need to be, you know, look at me, I'm great. Here's my Wikipedia page. It just needs to be the basic information, you know, simple as that.
Wonderful.
Yep.
This has been, I think we can agree, a brilliant session. And we just want to say a big thank you, Mike, for coming along and chatting to the two of us today.
No, I appreciate you having me on. It was great. It's glad to see we're talking from all the way around the world here.
Oh yeah, truly. I mean, this platform is wonderful, and it's one that we've discovered and made a lot of use of in chatting to people. But today has been an absolute pleasure. It's to meet you, and I think I'm going to jump the gun here, Cendrine. But do you think we should invite Mike back later in the year to talk about marketing?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. If you have him again.
I would love to come on. I mean, this is a great platform. This is only my second video chat I've been on, but I really like this platform. I mean, I can see everybody. It's nice and clear on the right-hand side for the comments. I'll be glad to come and talk about anything you want, anything dealing with marketing, Wikipedia itself. Get a list of questions for me. I'll be here. You can fire away.
Right. This will be going out to YouTube and Facebook, and both of us do that. So you go to YouTube twice, you go to Facebook twice. So there's going to be a lot of people watching the replay from tomorrow onwards. So if you'd like to say a few words to them as well.
No, I thank everyone for listening and watching. You know, just make sure with all your marketing efforts, do it right. Make sure you do it right. That's it. You know, if you do it right in the beginning, you're going to reap the rewards in the end. If you don't do it right in the beginning, you're going to be dealing with issues down the road. So do it right in the beginning, build a good foundation, and everything else will come.
Brilliant. And Cendrine, shall we say good night to everybody? And good afternoon. Or
whatever they want.
I was talking.
Whatever they want. Thank you very much, Mike, for your time and for answering our questions. It was great. And I got some very insightful answers to some of our questions that I never asked you before. So that's fantastic for me. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Stephen, for your time as well. It's a pleasure to be with you every month. And thank you to everyone who watched us today and who will watch us later on the replay. It's a pleasure to see you all every single month. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
So it's good night from myself and bye from Cendrine and Mike. And Cendrine and I are back again next month, and we'll post a link to that later. But it's been our pleasure, Mike, and we look forward to chatting with you again. To everybody on Fire Talk, thank you. To Fire Talk themselves for providing this, thank you. And see you all later. Okay. Bye.